Alrighty, big day in the NFL. It is officially tag day. The NFL franchise tag deadline was at 4 p.m. Eastern time today. Some lot of big news going on. So me and Daniel are gonna give you our reactions to all the tags that happened today and stuff like that. But we'll start with the biggest story of the day. The biggest tag probably in quite some time. Lamar Jackson gets a non-exclusive tag from the Baltimore Ravens. The non-exclusive tag basically means that any team can negotiate a contract with Lamar, and the Baltimore Ravens can match that offer. But Lamar is like able to speak with other teams now about possibly a new contract. If the Ravens do let Lamar sign with another team, they get 2 first-round picks out of that. Also, he doesn't get as much money in that tag. I think he gets 32 million for the tag, and I think it's a little bit higher with the non.
Still a crazy amount of money. But
With the exclusive tag. But damn, big reaction out of Baltimore to Lamar getting the non-exclusive tag from the Ravens.
we kind of saw this coming. We talked about this earlier. So now that we're here, I guess we kind of just figure out where does he go. And we've already seen 2 teams that possibly we could have considered in the running for him, in the Carolina Panthers and Atlanta Falcons. They both came out and said, yeah, we're not really gonna look at Lamar, give him really a chance. I guess they already have other plans they've shifted towards or thinking about. But even to begin with, it's just it's a lot to ask a team for right now. It's just, who has 2 first-round picks to trade and $45 million to pay Lamar Jackson? You know what I mean? So the situational kind of fit. I just don't know who or where this could really even lead to. Maybe they reconcile with the Ravens, because we still haven't even heard anything from Lamar yet. So Lamar could just come out and play under the franchise tag and be a G and just thug it out or whatever and get his money. But who knows, man? Who knows? This is all just speculation, but it depends on what teams even really value Lamar at too, because they could they're the ones that are determining what his value is really in this instance. They're the ones that are gonna offer him this contract. So who knows? We'll see where this goes. But dude, this is just ugly on the Ravens end. It's just from the outside looking in, it looks messy, and then I can't imagine how it is on the inside, dude. I really can't. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, I'm on the Lamar Jackson camp, but I've been ever since they've been acting and moving this offseason, and now them officially like franchising him, like officially starting to like action instead of the words that's been going on this offseason, like actual action happened with this non-exclusive tag that they put on him. And I've been trying to think of a way that makes sense for Baltimore to do this, because they've been like a model franchise, a franchise that you want to like live up to since like the early 2000s with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed. They'd always like treated people and players like the right way. Like you've never heard Ray Lewis coming out like Rashad Bateman did and attacking the GM, or you never heard Ed Reed coming out and attacking the GM. So like it's just like a different era in the offseason, I feel it, or front office for the Baltimore Ravens. And the only like reason I could come up with why that they would actually tag him is that it relates to last year with Russell Wilson's Seattle situation. Everyone thought when Russell was in Seattle that you need to let him cook. Pete Carroll was washed, that they should stick with Russ and go get a different head coach or whatever. And look how that turned out. Seahawks went to the playoffs with Geno Smith, and Denver Broncos were bottom 5 team in the NFL with Russell Wilson. So I don't want to say that Lamar Jackson would have that type of like same season if he went somewhere else. But like I think we need to like put in perspective sometimes. I think we're always about the players, and we're not necessarily always looking at why franchises do business certain ways. I think Lamar Jackson wouldn't just completely fall off a cliff like Russell Wilson did, but I just don't think the Baltimore Ravens believe that Lamar Jackson is like the franchise, and I feel like they'd make him better than what he actually is if he's somewhere else. I'm not saying that's what I think. That's what I
No,
think
I understand.
the front office in Baltimore believes. Whether they're right or wrong, that's the question to be determined. But that's what I think that's what their side is, which is why they wouldn't want to pay him 45 plus million, because they think that he's not worth it, because they build him up to be this MVP player that is arguably worth 45 million instead of him doing it on his own. They don't think he's like a Mahomes or an Allen or a Burrow in my opinion. That's what I think that they think. But I also think when you have someone like Lamar Jackson, you can't give him a tag like this. He's worth more than Kyler Murray, who's getting 45 close to million, I think it is. He's got more runway than Aaron Rodgers. I think this is better for Lamar though, because now he gets to talk with other teams that have some interest in him, and he gets a little bit more freedom and more leverage than he did before the tag. But this is why I think the Ravens are possibly fine with moving on from him, because they think without them, he's not going to be as great as he was when he was MVP Lamar. That's what I think. I think this correlates a little bit to the Seahawks Russell Wilson situation.
In today's age, all these quarterbacks making 40 million, like I said, we talked about this. We just talked about this. I don't think these guys are really like on Mahomes' level, dude. But why not pay him? You guys they gave Joe Flacco a bag. If this is not the same ownership after winning the Super Bowl. So, I mean, okay, Lamar hasn't won a Super Bowl, but Joe Flacco didn't win any MVPs. That's to be fair. And they don't have that same amount of star power, that same structure of a team they did in 2012. It just wasn't the same league. Better team, probably. But maybe if they surrounded Lamar with some supporting cast, things would go more his way. But that's neither here nor there. The chips have fallen where they fell. And we'll see where Lamar goes with this. Because, yeah, he still has yet to say anything on this. But in other news, quarterbacks getting paid $40 million, potentially. Daniel Jones somehow secured a big bag himself. 4 years, $160 million. I think it's like $35 million annually, but it can get up to $40 million. Regardless, Lamar Jackson can't get his money, but Daniel Jones can. Maybe it's a different market. New York is a way bigger market than Baltimore, but still, just like the perspective of that is kind of crazy to me. And on top of that, too, they franchise tagged Saquon Barkley. And it's just kind of a bad day for running backs. That's what Ethan was saying to me. Yeah, and I agree. Or maybe just like a bad era for running backs in general. They kind of just get slighted because the position is even so like plentiful nowadays. You see Deebo Samuel can come in and have success as a running back. Your quarterback nowadays can be your running back. So they're not getting as much money. Bijan Robinson, one of these guys, one of the most talented prospects in this draft. They're talking about taking him second round. He might not even be a first round pick. He ran a 4.46. I thought that would have been enough to get him solidified first round status, but still, the running back is just not that valuable. But Daniel Jones, $40 million. Ethan, I know you got a lot to say, so go ahead, let me hear it, man.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I never thought Daniel Jones was worth 40 plus million. I think
he's not worth 30.
He's not worth 30. I think he's just a New York City version of Kirk Cousins. Just because he's in New York City, I feel like he gets he's a little bit more overrated than if he was, let's say, in Tennessee. No disrespect to Tennessee, but New York is New York. I mean, you can understand that. Yeah. But yeah, I can't believe they did this. This is more shocking than the Lamar Jackson franchise tag, just because you could kind of see how this was leading towards him being tagged. But
right at the buzzer of the deadline too. Right at the deadline, literally right at the
right,
deadline.
Like just out of nowhere, Daniel Jones
$40 million.
just dunking on the whole league.
What a day!
I mean,
what a day!
Dunking on everyone. Dunked on Saquon Barkley, and I mean, he was just collateral damage in this too. But Daniel Jones is not worth $40 million, not $30 million. I can't believe Brian Dable did this. He clearly thinks he's like the greatest thing in like offensive mind in the NFL. To be able to have that much confidence, be like, yeah, we can give him $40 million. We'll be fine. And then to tag Saquon Barkley, who hasn't got his money yet, and he's not going to appreciate that. I mean, he
No.
basically was the entire offense.
You know where I see
For
this
the
going?
Giants.
You know where I see this going for New York?
Where
This is going to have to set them back maybe like 2-3 years because, look, after this first year, Daniel Jones, maybe he performs a little bit more, but I don't see him performing any better than he did this year. And then they'll be like, all right, it's okay. He just keeps taking leaps. Next year, I feel like he's going to kind of decline. And they're going to be like, okay, is he the guy? Is he not? You know what I mean? They're just going to be kind of mid in between, stuck in between Daniel Jones at this point. Whatever the situation may be. This is not, I don't know if he's going to take him to the Super Bowl. Maybe they built a team around him. Maybe that's what they're doing. But how are you going to build a team around him with giving him $40 million? You're going to need some top end talent to accompany Daniel Jones if you want to get to the promised land. I just don't know. I just don't know. Maybe because it's New York, man. Maybe because they got money to spend. But other than that, bro, what? Out of nowhere.
regardless of that, I mean, he doesn't even have a wide receiver. It's not like he was Dak Prescott when he got paid because he like had all this talent around him.
Yeah.
When Zeke was still Zeke. I mean, they had Amari Cooper still. CeeDee Lamb had like just gotten there too as well. Michael Gallup. Dalton Schultz, pretty solid tight end too. The offensive line was top 5 in the league for a couple of years. Daniel Jones has none of that. Doesn't have really any like legit wide receivers. Tight end gone. They lost Evan Ingram, who was killing it in Jacksonville this year. Saquon Barkley, they just tagged him
too. By the way, Evan Ingram.
Yes, Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's reports of Ian Rappaport that Saquon's going to hit the open market now. So Saquon might be out of there, which I would if I'm him too. I mean, you're going to pay Daniel Jones $40 million, but you're not going to pay me, who was basically the entire offense and stayed healthy and was very productive and helped us get to the playoffs. You're going to be the franchise tag. A lot of that has to do with what you said earlier with the running back situation. We can get into that a little bit later, but Giants are set back for 2 to 3 years. I think they should have franchise tagged. It should have flipped it. They should have franchise tagged Daniel Jones, let him prove it, have a prove it year this upcoming year. Pay Saquon, lock Saquon up, and then maybe possibly if it doesn't work out and you guys decline a little bit, maybe you trade up to go get a Caleb Williams or something like that. Or maybe go get a veteran too, or even Lamar Jackson. He was up in the air too as well. So it's just the Giants literally locked themselves up and are at the mercy of Daniel Jones' performance now for the next.
I'm not saying he
can't. 2 to 3
I'm not
years.
saying he can't improve or build on this, his performance for this year. I'm talking about Daniel Jones, but I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I think that was a big leap of faith. And these teams, dude, they gotta be willing to, like, let's be honest. If you franchise tag Daniel Jones, who's gonna pay you? Who's gonna take? You know what I mean? Who's going to pay him more than $32 million a year? I just don't know, man, what these teams are doing. Giving out free money to talent that doesn't even really deserve it. Or, like, just based off of their potential. To me, that's how you get locked up and get set back for 5 years or so. Not the move. And Saquon, what I wanted to say about, you were talking about him hitting the free market. Dude, what team is going to pay him? I was just talking about the running backs. What team is going to pay him, really? I mean, somebody might take a chance, but he said if you want to go to a contender, you're not going to get $20 million from a contender. I don't think so. In the running back position.
Yeah, there was some speculation out there that he would want to go to a contender. Maybe the Buffalo Bills would be a pretty good option. Maybe take a little bit pay cut to have a ring, or maybe go to Miami as well. Los Angeles Rams wouldn't be a bad option either. They're not paying any running backs as well. There's some teams out there I think that would give him shorter years and give him more guaranteed money. I think that's kind of the new wave, I think, for running backs, that they're going to have to do shorter years and just more guaranteed money towards like 2 to 3 year deals. But back to the Daniel Jones situation just for a little bit. Brian Dable's gonna have to turn him into like a legit Pro Bowler for this contract to be worth it, in my opinion. The only good thing that the Giants have for them going is that there's really no quarterbacks in the NFC besides that are legit besides Jalen Hurts. I mean, and Matthew Stafford, honestly. So, I mean, there was a quarterback that just got added to the NFC South, but we'll get into that after. But I mean, that's the only thing that they got going for them. They don't have to play Mahomes, Herberts, the Burrows, all of them in the AFC as well. That's the only thing they got going for them. But losing Saquon Barkley, I think, is more important than actually keeping Daniel Jones. I mean, that's like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
Alrighty, sticking the NFC with some quarterbacks. One that just got added to the NFC South, Derrick Carr signs with the Saints. 100 plus million guaranteed, 150. It can get up to 150. I think it was a 4-year deal. What are your thoughts on Derrick Carr going to the NFC South, Daniel?
I think Derrick Carr, he's kind of like a wild card. He could be really good for the team. We just don't really know yet because he's kind of been stuck in Vegas for some years or so. He had some mediocre years, had some elite years or borderline elite years. He did enough to get paid. He did enough to get that big contract, like another $40 million or so. I don't know if he was worth it. I don't know if he was worth this amount of money. Considering I saw a stat, if you compared all the quarterbacks that played for New Orleans this season, you compared all their stats together this year, they line up pretty much simultaneously with what Derek Carr did in Oakland, or Vegas, my bad. But I think Derek Carr, he's a playmaker. He has a big arm, and he's not the worst quarterback, definitely not the worst. I think he could do something definitely with that offense. Kamara and Chris Olave, he's a pretty big piece on that offense too. They still have Michael Thomas. If he comes back healthy and he's all right, that'll be cool. They could definitely do some things with that offense. So I don't know if it'll really catapult them to be a playoff team. I'm gonna be honest, but it's a nice addition. It's a nice addition. It's a big question mark to me, but I think it's an okay addition. It's definitely a step up from what they had. Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I think this is the Saints' only option, really. I don't think they really had anyone that could be like substantially better than what they've had recently, other than Derek Carr. I think this puts them in the driver's seat to win the NFC South. There's no more Brady. Carolina, we don't know what they're doing. Falcons, we don't know what they're doing either. I think this is like Derek Carr's best chance to win a division and set himself up to be playing in the playoffs later than he normally has. He hasn't won a playoff game in 9 years.
Yeah.
I think people forget that. I mean, that's a big problem. I mean, you had Amari Cooper. You had Devontae Adams this year, your college teammate.
Couldn't really get
Darren Waller you've had, Josh Jacobs. I think Derek Carr, he's average to a little bit better than average. I don't think he's horrible, but I don't think he's elite or even great.
Like Kirk
Cousins.
But I think
right. I mean, he's a better Kirk Cousins basically. I think Dennis Allen being the head coach, he's defensive minded. I don't think this helps him. I think if they still had Sean Payton, people will legitimately say, okay, maybe they might be a contender in the NFC. But with Dennis Allen, he's not an offensive minded coach. I don't think he'll be able to put Derek Carr in the best situations like an offensive minded coach could. Another situation is that he's got going for him though is that he is in the NFC. The only other better quarterbacks that you can legitimately say are in that conference, Matthew Stafford and Jalen Hurts, and Aaron Rodgers if he stays in the NFC, which who knows about that. But I mean, they'll win that division, I think, not by a landslide, but comfortably. I mean, you have one of the best defenses in the league too as well. People forget about that. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis down in New Orleans. They're a solid group. They're a veteran group. Michael Thomas, maybe he stays there. If he does, that's great. If he doesn't, free up some cap space to bring some other people to.
He's playing for them anyways lately, so.
Right. So I mean, that'll take away some cap because they have a lot of cap issues. I'm surprised they could even pay him that much money. With Kamara, we don't know what his situation is. Yeah. Maybe he gets suspended for a little bit. Maybe he's not. Chris Olave is the one solid piece that he has on that offensive team. I mean, he arguably could have been. He was in the running for Rookie of the Year. But I think it's a good signing. It's not a bad signing, but it's not. I don't think it's a great signing. I think they'll just be a formidable playoff team for right now because of the cap situation that they have problems and Dennis Allen. I think Dennis Allen holds them back a little bit with Derek Carr. in the positions he can put him in to offensively win. So I don't think it could be great. I think they'll win a couple divisions here and there, be in the playoff hunt, maybe win a playoff game or two, but nothing too crazy. It wasn't crazy. I know reportedly that his first option was the New York Jets, but the Jets were kind of a little wishy-washy with him, obviously for obvious reasons with Aaron Rodgers. So that makes sense. I would go with Rodgers over Carr any day.
And now,
so he just ultimately went with the second best option. Yeah.
Team officials are talking. Team officials in New York, they're talking about going on a flight to meet Aaron Rodgers in person. So actually, things are really heating up with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. If I think even some of the players are tweeting, Breece Hall and Sauce Gardner even. I'm starting to see some things, so they're really making a push for that guy. If the Jets land Aaron Rodgers, they're instant contenders. They actually have pieces. They have young receivers, a good receiving core. They have Breece Hall, even though he just tore his ACL. Hopefully he comes back well, and he was very explosive for them. I don't know how they have Mekhi Becton on that line too. I'm sure their line held up pretty decently. They're almost a playoff team. Their defense is nice. They got a nice group over there, so they could definitely make some noise in that AFC. Just another great AFC QB added to that conference, if that happens. Do you think Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is a real possibility, or is this just noise?
I think this is officially today was the first after the Derrick Carr signing to the Saints. I think the Jets they have to be all in on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they have a real option.
That's why the team
you can't go back with Zach Wilson next year. You just can't do it. I mean, the other option would be Jimmy G, which wouldn't be horrible. It'd be better, but Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. So anytime you have the opportunity to go get him, you make that play, you make that push, as you were saying. Quick thing though, I think everyone is saying it's like a done deal, almost basically with Aaron Rodgers to Jets. I think the Packers would take the best deal that they can get, not that they would just send him to the Jets because he wants to go to the Jets. I think Jets, I don't think they have enough to give than some other teams can give. I think the Titans could give a little bit more than the Jets could.
I think it's kind of a sticky situation too. You know, like
with the Raiders though. The Raiders have, I think it's the 7th pick or something like that in this year's draft. I mean, Packers I think would take the 7th pick over what the Jets would give them. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's not real, but I don't think it should be just like 100% automatic. Book it. He's either being with the Jets or he's retiring or going with the Packers.
But it's kind of like the Lamar Jackson situation. You know what I mean? Which teams are going to really be able to like realistically give up some assets for an aging Aaron Rodgers? You're probably going to only have like three years max of elite play from him before he starts to decline. And then even then, do you have an elite team for 3 years? Do you see yourself contending for 3 years or so? And do you have that amount of payroll to give up for 3 years? Because some of these players you have on your team are going to have to get paid too. They're going to want a bag. So New York, that's why I think New York is a really good place for him, because pretty much all of the young players, they're locked up under rookie contracts and they are really special. They're providing well, and all the vets that they have too, they're locked up under deals. And it's New York, just a big market. I feel like it makes sense. It's kind of been in the build-up for some time now. But Vegas is a good pick too. The thing is, you got to ask yourself, would you rather have the number 7 pick this year or Aaron Rodgers? And that's only a question the GM of the Las Vegas Raiders would be able to answer. Truly, realistically, I don't know if there's really any options for Aaron Rodgers outside of New York. If it's not that, I think Green Bay just maybe he retires or something. I don't know. We never know with that guy, but
he's not retiring. There's no way he's gonna leave.
He still wants to play football.
He's not leaving $100 million on the table. Let's just be honest. He's not leaving $100 million on the table. He's getting almost $60 million this year if he plays football. He's not giving that up. I think that's all talk. I think Aaron Rodgers likes it. He likes the speculation. He likes being in the news.
Yeah.
I mean, bros, we're talking more about Aaron Rodgers off the field than we do on the field. I mean, he
Most
lost
definitely.
he lost at home to Lambeau Field to Detroit Lions, and no one wanted. We talked about it for maybe 2 days. So I mean,
Missed
I'm just putting it
playoffs.
out there. Lost the 49ers 2 straight years, didn't make the playoffs this year. I mean, I'm kind of sick and tired of it, dealing with it. I feel like we talk about this I'm not saying we do, but I'm saying sports fans in general, we just keep talking about this. Like, and that's what Aaron Rodgers wants us to do. He wants us to keep talking about him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's in the news every single day about something new. It's about his freaking darkness retreat. Maybe I want to retire. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do want to leave. What other opportunities? Do the Packers even want me still here? I don't know. Like, it's just
Go on
all
some
over the place.
podcast or something.
Right. I'm doing ayahuasca in a couple days here. We'll see how that goes. Like, it's just all over the place with him, and I think the Packers are kind of sick and tired of it. So that's why I feel like they're kind of nudging him out of the building a little bit. Being Bears fans, this is great. I love it.
Yeah.
Get him out of
definitely.
division, man. Like, it's great. It'd be great. But yeah, I another team that
last
thing I'll say is watch the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Dolphins
They
could
could go a lot of places.
I think they would trade Tua too. Teams might take Tua. I mean, Tua, he's not healthy enough. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if the Dolphins would want to do another year with this Dolphin situation or Tua situation. There was a report that Rich Eisen on his show said watch out for Tom Brady going to Miami again. I'm like, okay, that's completely false.
He came
That's
out and
completely
shut that
false.
down. He's on Twitter talking about a 2-month-old kitten, dude. That man is retired, bro. He's crazy.
Right. But it's not from the Brady point that I'm bringing up the report. It's from the Dolphins side of things. The Dolphins would kind of want that leaked a little bit, that they want some other quarterback. Maybe they want to go get
They're
Rodgers.
in win now mode for sure. Bradley
Right.
Chubb, he signed there too. Tyreek Hill, Jay Waddle. They got a lot of guys too. They have a decent rotation of running backs. They're definitely in win now mode too. They just released Byron Jones, so maybe they're trying to free up, make some money.
Free up some cap space for that $60 million that Aaron Rodgers wants. I think Aaron Rodgers would like the sunshine too. I don't think anyone would turn Miami down. So I think Miami, watch out for Miami. Everyone's talking about the Raiders and the Jets, as they should be, but Miami can make things real interesting real quick with Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers situation going around.
So the Super Bowl champions this year, Kansas City Chiefs, their starting running back actually was Isaiah Pacheco. He was drafted in the 7th round out of Rutgers. And when you see how he plays, and because he plays hard, man, he's a real good player. Returns punts and kicks for them, and runs real hard. He plays the position well. Good in pass protection. Does everything you'd ask for from a traditional running back. Runs a 4.3. He's got speed. When you see guys like this getting picked up in the 7th round, it just like makes you think, like, dude, running backs really, like, do you have to draft up in the 1st round or so? There's so much more needs on the football field, like linemen, dude. Nowadays, bro, there's defensive ends running 4.3s, same speed as running backs. So why not take a generational offensive lineman, or just try and find the one right piece that would help complement your team more so than a running back would? You know what I mean? Because I don't know, dude. They're just at a disadvantage. There's so many reasons, but the position has really devalued, and it's not to its own fault, because there's great athletes, great players at running back. Some of the top-selling jerseys every year are running backs, but I don't know. What do you think, Ethan? Because it's just not the same anymore.
Yeah, this has been happening for the last 10 years, I'd say. The rule that smart NFL teams have made, or winning teams have made, they don't pay their running backs. Chiefs won the Super Bowl, didn't pay running back, as you said. Eagles aren't paying Miles Sanders. They're not paying their running back. Patriots, they never paid their running backs either. I mean, for instance, Cowboys paid Zeke Elliott. Look how that's turned out. CMC got paid from the Panthers. He was having some issues with injuries for 3 years with them. Got traded to San Francisco. That contract looks like it's paying off, but can he stay healthy these next couple of years? That's the biggest question. The durability of the NFL running back is shortened to maybe like 3 to 5 years of actual prime from the moment they get into the league that rookie year to by the end of their rookie contract, which is again why Saquon Barkley got franchise tag. He's not
Josh
getting top tier
Jacobs.
money. Josh Jacobs tagged by the
The
Raiders.
Titans
Tony
are
Pollard.
shopping Derrick Henry now, looking to shop him.
Yep. Tony Pollard got tagged by the Cowboys. The running back is devalued completely. B.J. Robinson, as you said earlier, should be a top pick, top 10 pick, like talented wise, but because he's a running back, he's getting pushed into the second round. There was a scout that said that he's a more talented prospect than Saquon Barkley was coming out of Penn State, which is shocking.
Yeah.
And Saquon Barkley was a second round pick, and B.J.
Second
Robinson
overall
gonna
pick,
be
yeah.
right late first round, early like second round pick. So, but it's kind of true though. I agree with the front offices of these NFL teams that you don't need to pay your running back. The instance again was the Chiefs and the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. Bills aren't paying theirs. Their running back. I mean, with Devin Singletary there as well.
They have James Cook now too.
Yeah, I mean,
Third
you
round
can just
pick, I think.
you can't have a top tier tailback either. I mean, look at Todd Gurley with the Los Angeles Rams. He got paid. Now he's not even in the league anymore. I mean, like it's like the longevity of running back is so short, which is why it sucks for them as their position. They're just not going to get paid like they used to anymore.
Yeah, the generational talents, I feel like they deserve to get paid, like the CMCs and stuff like that, or maybe they deserve to get picked with the top picks. I feel like Bijan Robinson is one of those guys, but we'll see. Only time will tell. But I don't know, man. With the running backs, I don't think they're gonna get their justice, because it's not even really their fault. Like I was saying earlier, it's more or less just like because everybody in the league is moving this way, it's just becoming kind of like a trend. You know what I mean? If you're just kind of like a fool not to fall under that, because at the end of the day, you're the ones losing out if everyone else has like a set agenda or whatever, and you're kind of going against that. You're like going against the meta, you know what I mean? It's going to be hard to compete just that way. So as a result, the running backs are going to have to just automatically suffer. And you see it in contract negotiations and talks and stuff like that, and whatever, all the other things. But who knows, man? There's going to be one prospect probably to change that, but for now they're kind of just on the butt end. They're losing.
Yeah, it's just a position now. You're just taking a beating from the moment you get in the league. I mean, you're not protected like a quarterback's getting protected or wide receivers getting protected. You're getting hit every single play, basically, that you touch the ball. So it's just the longevity of that position just doesn't last. There'll be an outlier eventually, as you were saying earlier, that'll get paid and have longevity of a 10-year career. But it's just not going to be that way anymore, which it just sucks for the position, but that's just how it is. I mean, you can look at the NBA. Centers aren't getting paid like they used to. There's not a legit center in the NBA. If you're a legit center in the NBA, you and you can't shoot, you're not going to get paid. If you can't shoot the ball, you're not going to get paid top tier dollars like the other centers in the league who can shoot. So it's just a different trajectory of how these leagues and these professions are being played out on the field and courts and stuff like that. So running backs are just casualties of that situation. But yeah, I hope running backs get can kind of stretch that longevity out to like 7 years, 3 to 5, like get paid at least. I hope they can get paid, but it's just such a battle with them. Le'Veon Bell, another example. Pittsburgh says they weren't going to pay him. They turned out to be right in that situation. Dude went to the New York Jets, got paid, and
Didn't do
he was
anything.
basically off the team. So he was washed up there. So it's just, I mean, Chiefs, they have 3 running backs. You kind of almost need 2 to 3 running backs that are actually getting the workload to stretch out the longevity of a player. CMC was splitting carries with Elijah Mitchell with the 49ers throughout that season, and Jeff Wilson as well. Or no, Jeff Wilson got traded, but I'm saying that you got to kind of like manage the carries a little bit, almost like load manage your running back a little bit. When he was in Carolina, he wasn't getting low. He was literally just the bell cow back there. So same with Saquon Barkley. That's why he suffered some of his injuries, which is why he's not getting paid, because they don't know if he can stay healthy or not. yeah, it just sucks that this situation that running backs in the NFL are in and will be living in for the next foreseeable future.
A lot of things to talk about today. A lot of moving parts going on. If you enjoyed today's episode, leave a like, comment, get at us on our socials, all that type of stuff. We want to hear from you guys. There's going to be more coming from us, and yeah, stay tuned.